Hello everyone, welcome to my lecture series of electromagnetic fields. We will discuss different theories, phenomena and numerical solution of different cases in this series. I hope this series will give a fruitful outcome to physics scholars or engineering students. Welcome to the second part of the vector analysis. In this video, you will learn basic vector algebra such as scaling, addition and subtraction. So let us begin. First of all, vector algebra. The various mathematical operations such as scaling, addition, subtraction and multiplication can be performed with the vectors. We will see each operation with its applications and properties. The scaling. So the scaling is used when we want to overstate or understate the vector for our ease of presentation. Many a times the plane is quite small or too big to represent a vector. So in that case, if we want to zoom in or zoom out to our whatever drawing we are dealing with, at that time we are using the scaling of vectors. So one can perform this easily just by multiplying a scalar. That scalar may be positive or negative with the vector which we want to scale, and such scalar which we are multiplying with the vector is generally denoted by alpha. In case of negative value of scalar, the vector will be scaled up to the value of scalar but in the opposite direction. Fine. So the direction of scaling can also be changed with the help of sign of the scalar. So let us see. Suppose we have a vector which has a starting point O and a terminating point T. The direction of vector is shown by the arrow, and for easiness I have taken the magnitude of vector is 10 unit. So if you want to scale with the scalar alpha equals to 2, then what will happen? After the scaling, our main vector OT bar will be AB bar. So A will be the starting point and B will be the terminating point after scaling, and its magnitude will be multiplied by the value of the scalar, that is 2. So original magnitude was 10 unit, and after scaling the magnitude will be 20 units, but the direction of both the vectors will be same. So AB bar here is equals to alpha into OT bar. So the value of alpha that we have taken is 2. So AB bar is equals to 2 OT bar, and hence magnitude of AB bar will be twice the magnitude of OT bar, that is 20 unit. Now let us scale the prior vector OT with some different value of scalar. So if we take the value of scalar as 0.5, then what will happen? A new vector can be drawn. This time the vector is CD bar. So C is the starting point and D is the terminating point. The length of CD bar will be reduced. Why? Because here the multiplier or the value of scalar is 0.5, that is the magnitude of the scaled vector will be half the magnitude of original vector, and magnitude of original vector is 10 units. So the scaled vector will have of magnitude 5 units. Here the same thing can be explained, that is CD bar is equals to alpha OT bar, and magnitude of CD bar is equals to value of alpha, that is 0.5 OT bar. So L double dash, which is the magnitude of vector CD, will be 5 units. Last, if we scale the vector OT with scalar -1, what will happen? So here the magnitude of scalar is 1. So no change will be there in the magnitude of scaled vector, but the scalar has the sign negative. So the scaled vector will change the direction opposite to the direction of original vector. So here, as you can see, the length will be same, that is 10 unit, but the direction will be opposite due to negative sign of alpha. Now very important algebraic operation, that is addition. So vector addition is quite different from scalar or algebraic addition, as for the vectors magnitude and direction both are important. So methods of addition, generally we have three methods. First is triangular method, which is very popular. Second is parallelogram method. It is also popular, but it is quite cumbersome when more than two vectors are to be added. And third is coordinate method. So we will learn each of these methods step by step. So first we will see triangular method. Now suppose two vectors are there with us in a plane. So vector a bar and b bar is there. Now if we want to add a bar with b bar, then what will we do? We simply take the b bar and put its tail on the head of a bar. So we have moved b bar and we have put the tail of b bar on the head of vector a. Now just join the tail of vector a and head of vector b. So this joining vector will be the addition of vector a and b. We have named it as vector c. Fine. And this process can be adopted for any number of vectors. For example, if we have three vectors, let us say a bar, b bar and c bar, and d bar is the addition of all these three vectors, then what can we do? We will draw vector a, then we will draw the vector b by putting its tail on the head of a, keeping the direction same, and then we will draw vector c. So at this time we will put the tail of vector c on the head of b, and by joining the tail of first vector and head of last vector, we will have the addition, that is a bar plus c bar plus b bar. So this is how we can very easily find the addition of two vectors. Our second method is parallelogram method. Now how does a parallelogram method differs from the triangular method? So in triangular method we were adjusting the tail of second vector on the head of first vector, but in parallelogram method we will draw both the vectors on same point, that is tail of both the vectors will be intersect. Then what will we do? We will form a parallelogram. So we will draw a parallel line from the head of second vector with same magnitude and direction as first vector, that is a bar. Again we will draw a parallel line to the second vector with the same magnitude and direction from the head of first vector. So by doing this one parallelogram is formed, and that is why this method is named as parallelogram method. And now the hypotenuse of this parallelogram will show the addition of these two vectors. So let us say c bar is the addition of both the vectors a and b, then c bar is equals to a bar plus b bar. Now what is the drawback of this method? So it is appropriate only for addition of two vectors. If we want to add more than two vectors, then we should repeat this process of making parallelograms as we are adding one vector. So let us see, if we want to add same vector a bar, b bar and c bar that we have just added at the time of triangular method. So what could be done in parallelogram method? So we first draw a bar and b bar, then what will you do? So we are going to form a parallelogram, and the hypotenuse of this parallelogram will be a bar plus b bar. Now we want to add c bar, so we will draw it with its original direction. We will form another parallelogram, and now this hypotenuse will be the result of addition of three vectors a bar, b bar and c bar. Fine. So it is quite cumbersome method compared to triangular method, but in both the methods the result will be same. The next method is coordinate method. Now, although we can represent a vector anywhere in the space, but this method can only be used when some coordinate system is adopted. For the ease of understanding, I have taken Cartesian coordinate system. Now there are number of coordinate system, but the most well known is this Cartesian coordinate system. Another coordinate system which will be the part of this lecture series will be cylindrical coordinate system and spherical coordinate system. We will learn these two coordinate system when our series progress to that topic. Fine. But in this lecture the Cartesian coordinate system will be adopted, and this is very commonly known to all of us. So we will draw each vector to be originated from the origin of two-dimensional Cartesian system. Then we will mark x and y coordinate of each vector, and by algebraically adding them, that is x and y coordinate of vectors, the coordinates of resultant vector can be determined. So let us see how can we find the addition of two vectors with the help of coordinate method. So here I have taken two vectors a bar and b bar. So what is the first step? We will first draw the x and y coordinates of both the vectors. So these are x and y coordinates of vector a and b. So ax and ay is the x and y coordinate of vector a. Bx and by are the x and y coordinates of vector b respectively. Then what we will do? We will algebraically add the x component of both the vectors and y components of both the vectors separately. So the x component of a and x component of b is merged on x-axis. You can see that the x component of a and b both are positive, so we have added that. So by adding that portion, so here up to this it is same as ax, and this portion is bx. Now the value of ax and bx both are positive, so we will algebraically add both. Fine. But what happens when we so cx, let us say c is the resultant vector, then the x component of c will be ax plus bx. Fine. What happens with the y component? So as you can see, the y component of vector a lies in a positive y axis, but y component of vector b lies in a negative y axis. So this component is positive ay, and this is negative by. So resultant y component of a resultant vector will be ay minus by, and by joining them we can have the resultant vector c bar, which is equals to a bar plus b bar. We can also verify the same thing by parallelogram method, that is, if we want to add two vectors a bar and b bar, so by forming a parallelogram you will get the same vector as you are getting in the coordinate method. Now we will learn some properties of addition. So there is basically three properties: the law of commutative, associative and distributive. Fine. So addition follows the law of cumulation. So That means a bar plus b bar will be same as b bar plus a bar. Fine. Magnitude wise and direction wise both. The law of association. So this vector addition algebra also follows the law of association. That means a bar plus the resultant vector of b bar and c bar will be equal to the resultant vector of a bar and b bar plus c bar. So in case of three vectors, we will have the same result by interchanging the sequence of vectors. So resultant vector will have no change if we change the sequence of addition. The vector addition is also distributive. That means if we add two vectors and scale it with some scalar alpha, then resultant will be the result will be the same as we have scaled two vectors separately and then add them with each other. So these three laws, commutative, associative and distributive, is very important whenever we are deriving some formulas with the help of vectors. Similarly, there are some properties which is followed by vector addition and multiplication by scalar. So either you scale any vector a with beta and then scale it with alpha, so 2 times scaling will be there. Fine. You can reduce that effort by simply multiplying alpha and beta and scale them with the resultant scalar. And the third property is, if you want to scale a vector with two different scalars, fine, then it is easy to scale a vector with the addition of both that scalars. The last topic of the video is subtraction of the vectors. So subtraction of two vectors is nothing but the combination of vector scaling and addition. That is, if we want to subtract b bar from a bar, then we first scale b bar with alpha equals to -1 and then take vector addition of such resultant vector, say b dash bar with a bar. Fine. So actually the subtraction of vector is nothing but the addition of vectors by scaling second vector with alpha equals to -1. How does it work? So simply say we have the same two vectors a bar and b bar, and now we want to find what is the subtraction of a bar minus b bar. So for that, what will we first do? First, we will scale the second vector with alpha equals to -1. So doing so, what will happen? The magnitude of b bar will be same, but the direction will change to 180 degree or opposite direction. So we get b dash bar. Now this b dash bar is nothing but negative of b bar. Now what will we do? We will add this b dash bar with a bar. So b dash bar, which is nothing but minus b bar, and now if we want to add, then with the help of triangular method, the tail of second vector will lie on the head of first vector, and we will join the tail of first vector with head of second vector. So this c bar will be a bar minus b bar. Fine. So for your reference only, if you want to find a bar plus b bar, then this dotted line vector is the addition of a bar and b bar, and here c bar is the subtraction of a bar and b bar. We can also prove this with the help of parallelogram method. So again we are taking the same two vectors, then we will scale the second vector with alpha equals to -1. It will opposite its direction, and now we will draw b dash bar from the tail of a bar. We will form a parallelogram, and hypotenuse of a parallelogram will give us a bar minus b bar. Also, if you want to draw a bar plus b bar, then this will be a bar plus b bar. Parallelogram is a popular method because whenever you draw a parallelogram, say for this case only or for any case general, let us say this is some vector a bar, some vector b bar, and here we are drawing a parallelogram. So its first hypotenuse will give you the result a bar plus b bar, and its second hypotenuse will give you the result a bar minus b bar. So this is the reason why parallelogram method is very popular in vector algebra. So that's it for today. Thank you very much.